Hi, I'm Beth from Sew Country, and today is day 3 of the sew along in the J&R Edwards Facebook group. So we have been working on the Jot It Down, the pattern from K Deal Handmade, and we are finishing up everything today. In the pattern, the first thing it tells you to do is that back lining panel. You're going to lay it down face up. The back lining panel is that piece we worked on first that we folded in both of the edges and top stitched down there. So that was the first thing we did. So we lay it down first, right sides up. Then we take that back sleeve part, the notebook cover back sleeve, that was C1 that we just top stitched on one side, and we lay it down. The pattern tells us how far we overlap. So you will use your ruler. I put my ruler usually on the top, or I put it on my cutting mat. And then I lay this piece over it and overlap it by that much. Then I take out my zipper pocket. Let me go ahead and clip this down so I can shift things over and show you clearly what we're doing next. So then I take that zipper pocket and I overlap it on the other side, which will be my left side, the same amount, the same measurement amount we overlap it. Now, we go ahead and clip this. Then what we do, once we have this lining laid out like this, then we measure it. She gives us the exact measurements of now what this should be width-wise. You want to make sure yours is exactly that. If it's not that exact measurement, you need to scooch it in a little or scooch it out a little to make everything fit evenly. It is going to end up being the same size as your outer main panel. Okay, so what we're going to do, once you get your measurements the way they should be, you're going to baste the tops, both top sides and both bottom sides, to have these pieces stable in one piece. Okay, we don't need to worry about going around the sides and everything because we're going to go and sew this all together in just a minute. But for right now, we're just going to baste so nothing shifts. So now we have our lining established, it is done, and now we need to pull out this exterior. Depending on what type of closure you're doing is going to depend on what steps you're doing next. Since I am doing just the elastic, mine's going to be pretty simple. So all I'm going to do is they give me the amount to measure in, so I'm going to measure in that amount, and I'm going to lay my elastic right sides down on this my exterior outer panel, so they're right sides together. I always get that wrong, so make sure you do it the right way. You're going to have about a 1/2 of an inch to a 1/4 of an inch overhang, and you don't want to stretch this out. We want to just hold it flat, and when we cut it we want to hold it flat and so it doesn't pull or anything like that. So what we're going to do is use the measurements in the pattern to know how far in you put it in on the left side, and then baste the top and the bottom. So I have that basted in place, and I have my outer panel right sides up. I'm going to take my lining and place it right sides down. I'm going to match up all the corners, all the edges, get everything nice and evenly matched, and then I'm going to sew everything together at a 1/2 of an inch seam allowance. So I'm going to start clipping and get that together, and I'm going to come back once I get it all clipped up. So now that I have this clipped together, I'm going to sew around all 4 sides. I'm not leaving an opening because I already have the opening in there. And so I'm going to sew around all sides with a 1/2 of an inch seam allowance to make sure I catch everything. Then I'm going to trim my seam allowance down, and then we'll turn this little pattern out and be completely done and have our beautiful notebook cover. So I have everything sewn together. I have it all trimmed down. So the next thing I do is I just reach in on either side and I just start turning this out. That's what's so cool about this bag, or pattern I should say, is that you don't have to have any closing holes because everything, the way it's sewn together, just comes together perfectly. Something I didn't mention in the beginning of the video is that I do just interface all of this together. The pattern does give you the recommendation of keeping the interfacing out of your seams. You will notice that whenever I push my seams out, they're kind of bulky. It doesn't bother me, and my machine can handle that, so I just leave it alone and leave it as is. If your machine will not handle that, or if you don't like the look of that, just make sure you cut the interfacing like she says and keep it out of the seam allowances. Okay, I've got everything turned out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this over to the iron. I'm going to give it a good press, and I'm going to slip my notebook in it, and I'm going to take pictures. But you can see it is perfect. It is gorgeous. I just love it. This print, well, both of these prints are available in the J&R Edwards Facebook group and on their website. And you can make this adorable cover too. Please post your finished Jot It Down notebook covers in the Facebook group under the post for the link for this video. And thank you so much for sewing with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next sew along. Let me know if you have any ideas for the next pattern we should sew together, or any tutorials you want to see from me. Thank you so much, and you have a great day.